single time. What's going on, family? Don't go nowhere. We about to build. What is this? Like it was there. Now it's not. All right. All right. So oh man, God damn, like all damn day, that shit was sitting here minding his business. Now it's not. This is pissing me off. Hey, I'm getting pissed. You ever like see something be sitting in a certain area all day, then when you want to use it, it's not there? Like for real. Yo, what's going on? Yo, let the room fill up a little bit. We about to build. We about to go on strong. We about to go strong. Let me. I ran out of coconut water. Hold on. We coming. I'm coming. Coming. I got something for your ass. I got something strong for you. Like 180 proof. 80 proof. God damn, man. This is pissing me off. Where is it? I'm gonna get mad, boy. I'm gonna get upset. Oh my God. Damn. All this shit. Damn. Where is it? Where is it? I'm getting pissed. Where is it? Alright, this is pissing me off. Alright. Okay. God damn, man. I'm gonna cuss me a bitch out. Alright, so since that, gotta abandon ship on that. We must abandon ship on the idea of that. Huh? Yo, I'm gonna whoop one of my kids' ass, boy. Moving my shit. Alright. So let's build, let's do this, right? Yo, I appreciate everybody coming in. I appreciate y'all being here. We about to do something real. We about to build, right? We about to do. I gotta open up me another coconut while I talk to y'all. But I was just building with somebody, right? I was building with somebody, and I was telling them, I was basically breaking down the system. I was breaking down the system, and I was opening their mind, their eyes, right? And I was breaking down the system as I was like telling them. So I was like, yo, this is an epiphany. I have to go in about this tonight. Usually this is my hour anyway. So I was like, let me go in. Let me go ahead and put this word out there. Let me put this message out there, right? And it's funny because I just put up an old poem about, America. I put up one of my poems called America on Trial on my post, my Facebook wall. And it's a spoken word that I go in about America. And I posted with it. I said, yo, it's election season, right? We're about to put people in office that claim to have a best heart. But truthfully, let me break down to you the political scene. Like, let me show you what it is, especially when it comes to our children. And this is why I say I titled Why You Are Subjecting Your Children to a False Reality. And we have to go in about this. This is education tonight for y'all, okay? So you who are in the room, prepare to be educated. This is where I'm at my best. This is where, The Lordship comes out. Let me explain to you, for some people who have a problem with calling me. First of all, I have to go in with this. Lord, okay? Now, I have to explain who I am for you newcomers to my page. And those of you who first listening to me first time tonight. My name is Lord Obang Swami. Lord is leadership over a certain, Lord means to be a leader over a people, right? Obang in Ghanaian language, the Akan language of Ghana, the language for Ghana is Akan. So in the language of Ghana, Obang means powerful. Swami means communicator. And I am a powerful communicator. Why am I that? Because I am. Alright, enough with the ego tripping. I love being in my ego, my higher self sometimes. But let's go in. So sometimes you just gotta break things down for people. I'm trying to get this coconut open, you feel me? You gotta use a corkscrew like you do with the wine. Alright, no more filibustering. Here we go. The reason why I say you are subjecting your children to a false reality is this reason right here. I must give you a little background. You gotta follow me. Stay with me. Follow me. I just opened up my coconut, so we good. But follow me. Don't lose me. Let's start. Okay. I've been speaking since 2013. I jumped out there. I knew what my purpose and my calling was. You gotta follow the story to get the message. So I knew what my calling was in life. I found that out in 2013. That moment, I left my job and I started pursuing my dream, the dream of becoming a motivational speaker. Got that, knocked down all these doors. I started knocking on doors and going into the church, going into the school. I did that. I accomplished for 5 straight years. I've been able to accomplish, and still I get requests to speak. I've been able to accomplish this goal and idea to be a powerful speaker, communicator, and I did that. Now, I need to give you the backstory on the purpose of this message, and you need to follow me here. As I became a speaker, I also became a mentor. The public schools in my state of Florida opened the doors for me to bring in not just my skill of speaking, but my ability to really change and affect lives. So I started a mentoring program, a nonprofit mentoring program called Sweat for Life. Sweat for Life. It was the name of my program. It was SWET. It meant speak words of encouragement today for one life to be saved. Sweat for Life. Speak words of encouragement today for one life to be saved. Sometimes you'll see it on my Facebook or Instagram or any other social media, right? I'm not trying to go in too long about this. I need to get the meat out. I need to feed you the meat. But I got to give you the following. You got to follow me here so you understand. Oh, he's informed on this. I'm very informed on the inside of what I'm about to tell you about. Okay? So, as I started to build my mentoring program up, literally like it was building up. It was really becoming really successful to the point where I built up a curriculum for the school, and the school adopted my curriculum program for the students. Okay. With that all being said, you must understand that I started to go into the schools, and I was getting heavily requested to mentor. I was getting requested to mentor so much. It was I loved it, but it was exhausting. It was killing me. And you know who I was mentoring the most? You got to guess this, right? It's a guess. I was mentoring. You know who I would get requests? Listen to me and follow me. Black, white, brown. I don't care what your race is. You need to hear the facts, okay? Today you're going to hear the facts. Today you're going to hear the facts. Okay? Now, I would get requested to mentor. Majority of my mentees were black young men, African American, black men, whatever you want to call it. I like to call them African, the K-I-N, because they're like my kin. So Africans. I was getting the majority of my requests was African young males, and they were sprinkling a few white, men, young boys, a few white boys here and there, elementary kids and stuff like that. But there was never nothing psychologically or emotionally wrong with these young white mentees of mine. Never nothing wrong with them psychologically or emotionally. There was always something wrong with the black child psychologically and emotionally whenever I would get these, as my mentee. And there was a time where I would have like, I go to one school, I would have 5 or 6 mentees I would meet with in one group. And I would go to another school and I would have like, 2 or 3. And then I would have my program total, in 1 year, 12 mentees. And that's divided up into schools every year, right? So I would go to different schools and I would total about 12 mentees I could handle, and I would go into these schools and my students, my mentees, they were dealing with, most of my mentees almost was the same story. They were dealing with, the mom was working too much, so they was usually staying with the grandma. Because why? The father wasn't there. So the kid is psychologically and emotionally broken. And so this was a debilitation. Follow me. Now we about to get into the meat of this. And so this became, and this is how my soul smart self, my soul conscious self, my soul pay attention to everything, my soul being aware of everything, every word, every action, every little thing I see. I'm aware of, you can get nothing by me. I'm aware of everything. Right? And I listen really intricately. I listen. And so every single time, it was so funny to me. Every single time I would get what they would call the little psychologist, the guidance counselor to call me in. Hey, they say, oh, well, um, he's just not, he's not really, he's very, and he just like does his own thing. And we just feel he really needs, a mentor in his life and basically a father figure, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause that's what's missing in his life. And he's not listening and he's disruptive. These were their words. He's disruptive to the class, and he's lashing out against the teacher, and these mentees I would have. Follow me. I'm what? I'm about some of y'all. Okay, I gotta give away some personal details. So I'm about like I'm 5'8". Okay, I stand 5'8" now, and I'm about 160. Cause that's muscle. You feel me? And these 5th graders that I would get as my mentees were standing next to me. Some of them the same height. Like, so these teachers who were only like 5 foot, white, skinny white women, they like 5 foot, fresh out of college, skinny as hell, scared as hell. They like 5'4", 5'1", 100 pounds soaking wet. And they got these 5th graders who my height or and 100 plus some pounds bigger than them. It's like they were scared of these young boys, and they don't even understand they're still children. Like, I don't care what the size of this young man is, he's still a child in his mind. And you gotta understand that. And so I'm like, I see through the size, right? I see through the size. I was able to break that young man down as a child that he was, because I knew how to speak to him, right? And so the teachers was afraid. This is the reality. The teachers were afraid of these children. It wasn't that the child was not learning or lashing out or snapping, or it was the teachers didn't understand. These poor skinny white women teachers did not understand how to penetrate the mind of a young man because they don't understand that where this young man, his hurt is coming from or his disruptiveness is coming from. And they don't understand that his disruptiveness is just a hurt. And so they didn't see that. But I was able to see that. You understand? I know that. Why? Because I come from a home where I don't know still to this day. I'm, you know, my earthly age is 35, right? But, you know, I'm infinite. I'm really older than that because I'm infinite. I ain't got no age. I'm forever. I'm immortal, right? So, but I still not met my biological father to this day. He lives in the same state as I, but I not met him and not contacted him. And I can, but I really haven't. And that could go into that a little deeper later, maybe later on in this download. But that's another. Let me stay focused. So, but I understand where it comes from, right? But I did have a stepfather who jumped in and kind of played the role and did his thing as a father, and so I still had somebody I could look to, right? But there's nothing like the connection with a young boy and his true father, right? Even though I looked at my stepdad as my father, like I loved him as my father, but you know that there's still a piece of you missing all the time. There's always a piece of you that you want to connect to that you can't. And so I was able to look back at my life and see, yo, there was something missing I always longed for, right? As I got older and older and older, and I started to put it aside, but I was able to see through these young men, these young boys, these fourth and fifth graders and third graders. Sometimes some of them was first graders, you know, and these teachers are finding issue with these young boys. So I was like, okay, I got to get into the mind of these young boys. I got to break these young boys down, which I already knew how to do. I already knew how to break them down. I already knew how to get to them. They soft points. I was like, okay, I got this. This is easy. So I was becoming very successful with the school systems in my state because they was like, yo, you're like the miracle worker with young students, man. We heard about you and we just want to do whatever to give you any access. Now, remind you, I got to be open with you. I got to be open with you. Remind you, I am a convicted felon, okay, which is about 13 years old, you know, but nothing to do with children. It was, you know, me being stupid. And I'm an open book. If you read my book, you'll find, you know, I wrote 6 books, but if you read my last book, I wrote it in my book. So I ain't got to hide nothing about what I'm telling you. But, you know, I was a drug dealer back in the day, a little petty selling, nickel and dime hustler, mess around, got caught because I was stupid, didn't know any good, you know, got caught by the police and got in trouble. So and they convict you for that as a felon. So, okay, cool, whatever. And hold me back. Now, the schools don't allow convicted felons in their school system, right? You know, to basically get next to the children, stuff. I ain't never did nothing with children as far as like you know, criminal wise, you know. So my stuff was just like I said, drugs, okay? But they was like, yo, we hear when I started to pursue this idea of becoming a speaker, they was like, yo, we hear you are a good speaker, right? And you connect with the youth because I got started with the church, and you know the church is welcoming everybody. So when you got teachers that go to church, and the teachers are like, "Yo, you're really good. I want to bring you out to my school." Well, I don't know if that's gonna happen real, you know, too good. Like I don't know if that's gonna happen. Why? I got a felony on my record. Oh, don't worry about that. We'll get you in. You see, like there's really no you know, there's really they tell you that you can't come because that's all a lie. When they be like, oh, you can't get in, that's a lie. They'll let you in. You understand? Like that's a lie. They tell you, oh, you got a felony on your record. No, if they want you in, they'll get you in. You feel me? And so the teachers were, you know, at the president, the board of education. I had teachers write letters to the board of education to get me into the school. Yo, we need this guy. We need him. So they got me. I'm in the school now. I'm in the school. I'm touching a lot of these young Africans, right? Young boys and changing their lives. And they passing me along these young boys who were on the brink of failure. Like, yo, if we don't get you in here, this young man is going to the fifth grade for a second time, sometimes a third time. I was like, no, 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 he's not. We're not going to let. I come in, change their life. Boom. Kids graduate. I show up to their graduation. All the kids, I got 100% success rate. I got letters from teachers. I can show you, but I don't have to prove myself like that. But I got letters from teachers. I got letters from students. I still got my letters from students and teachers. And, oh my God, you changed my life. You changed their lives. And 100%, every student that I came in involvement with, every one of them graduated, fifth grade to go on to middle school, which we used to call junior high. But middle school down here in Florida is sixth grade through eighth grade. We used to call that junior high, but now it's changed. So now we're going into, these students that I'm having, I'm mentoring. And what I'm getting there. Just follow me, stay with me. I'm telling you a story. Okay? Got my Coke. I'm in love with the cocoa right now. So I got my coconut right now. Okay? Let me sip the cocoa. Oh, that's a sweet one too. Yeah, that was a sweet one. That's a sweet one. My last one didn't taste that sweet. Okay. I'm having fun though. So let's keep building. Let's build. So back to the story. So now I'm inside the school. Everywhere I go, I get first class treatment. Okay. With the schools. Every one of my mentees graduate. Every one of them go on to the sixth grade. Every one of their moms be like, yo, can you mentor outside the school? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So I'm mentoring some of them outside. Some of them I don't, but more so just keeping it with the school. Mentoring. Everybody pass. Everybody go on to fifth grade. And you know they pass. I got to tell you a secret. This is why I titled this message today. You are subject to false reality. You need to understand what I talk about when I say false reality. This is where it's going to get consciously deep at, because I preach my religion is conscious. Okay, and I preach consciousness. I keep you awake to the reality of and aware to what you need to be awakened to, what your eyes need to be seeing and looking and paying attention to, what your ears need to be hearing, what your heart need to be feeling. I practice and preach consciousness. So I am here to do that. And I need you to be conscious, because some of you are allowing your children into these schools, and I need to get on you parents right now. I need to get on you parents to show you where your child is going to succeed at. You understand me? I'm going to show you where your child is going to succeed at. Are you with me? Let's go. So buckling down. I feel like I need to light an incense right now for the fact that I can't find my phone stand that I usually put my phone on, and it's got me a little bit anxious and angry and a little bit upset. You feel me? That I can't find my phone stand. So I can speak to the phone, not speak down on the phone. Okay, anyway. Alright. I'm going through a lot right now, and I feel like I need to light an incense to get that energy, out of me or something like that. But let's keep it moving. Alright? So I can't wait till I hear this again, hear all the distractions going on in my mind when I listen to it. Alright, so back to the story. This is getting good for me. I don't know about you, but it's getting good. So for you parents, I'm going to show you where the success rate in your kids going to come at. So these kids were passing, and all these counselors, like these psychologists who go to school. I ain't got no college degree. I got a certification in I went to school to get a certification in youth development. Now that's not a college degree. That's just a 10-month certification. You spend 10 months and get that thing and you done. And boom. So now these teachers who go to school 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, get a college degree and bachelor's and master's degree in teaching and education and psychology, and they can't figure these simple things out, because the simple things we make complicated, and the complicated things, I'm here to make the complicated simple. And so these psychologists are like, yo, what are you doing, like, to speak to these children? Like, what is it you doing? Like, how are these kids, like, passing? Like, they just, when you come, they just like, hey, like, I don't know what it is. Like, You are doing something to these children, like these kids who are very disruptive that they were talking about before. Oh, such and such is very disruptive, and he's, basically what they're trying to say in a roundabout way is that this young black boy scares that poor white teacher. That's what they're saying. This is what I hear. This is what I gotta be facts, right? I gotta be factual with you right now. What I hear is, yo, we need you in here to like keep this little boy calm because he is scaring this poor teacher, and she is scared for her life. And we don't want to put him in, a special class or anything like that, but we just need him to be calm. So they brought me in not to educate or what I want to say, recenter him back, standings with his education. They wanted me to basically be what's that word for? They wanted me to be like a kind of like, sedative, like a sedative. I came in as like a sedative to these young boys. Like you're like a sedative to them in a way that's kind of good and bad, because they were not interested in his education. They were more interested in him having somebody there to keep him or them. I had many to keep them at a very, like less harmful state. Okay, cool. What I need you to understand, my parents, is this. For those of you who got young black men, young Afro-Kings, okay? I call them Afro-Kings. They're kings. See them as that, right? So, these young Afro-Kings, right? I am not their father, so I don't want to say father figure. I am not their, I don't play like I'm your big brother role. I come in and I be what they need. And that's basically emotional support, right? These children need emotional support. And this is where you are subjecting your children to a false reality. Parents and teachers, the educational system too, are subjecting these children to a false reality, to if you just sit down and be still and just be a good boy and learn, you're gonna pass and you're gonna pass and you're gonna get the education you deserve and you're gonna go on to be somebody in life and you're gonna no. That's not it. That's not the way it happens. No. You know what I did? My mentoring practice, you know what I did? You know what I allowed? You know what I did? I only connected with these children, but more so, I let them do all of the talking and the facilitating and letting me know so I can hear, right? And so what I did was allow these children to express. So here's what you need to understand. You are subjecting your children to a false sense of reality because you're saying to your child, oh, when you go to school, sit your butt down, be still. A lot of you parents whoop your child for coming home for not being a subordinate child. You whip your child because your child wasn't subjecting him or herself to the teacher, sitting down listening to the teacher. You understand? Something like these children are not to be still. Children cannot sit still. They don't have a sit still bone in their body. You understand? They don't have a sit still bone in their body. But you put fear, the teachers put fear, the education put fear. They train them and teach them with fear to sit down or else they won't get a good education. And so we're subjecting our child to a false reality that being still, being good, being this child that just listens to the teacher and gets everything the teacher says is getting them to where they need to be in life. When no, that child needs to be expressive. And this is where you allow your child to become a creative child. This is where you allow your child to become a smart child. This is where you allow your child to become a very intelligent child. Why? Because you allow, watch this, you allow what's inside to be expressed. And this is what happens when you allow what's inside to be expressed. They get to see what's inside outside now, because when you allow your child to express, they get to bring it outside of them and put it in the front of them, and they get to see that, and then they get to see their abilities. You understand? So when you allow a child to express, when you tell a child to be still, sit down, be quiet, don't do nothing, don't move, just listen, you're allowing this energy inside to be stifled. to just sit inside and not have nothing to do nothing with, right? Nothing gets done with all of that energy. And so the child cannot see their potential because you do not allow that child's potential to be expressed outside of them. Get to see it outside of them. You know, the best way to see your dreams come true is to write it down. Even the Bible says in Habakkuk 2, in the book in the Bible, the book Habakkuk chapter 2, it says what? It says that write down the vision, and though it may tarry, it, you know, don't worry about it even if it may tarry, but just write down the vision. Write the vision down. Write it down. Even though it may tarry, it will still come to pass. It will come to pass. Now, meaning it may take long. It may be a wait. It may be a long time before you see it manifest. But don't worry about that. It will come to pass. But you must write the vision down. Why? It's important to write it down. It's important to get it outside yourself so you can see it. So you can see it. Now, when you allow your child to express themselves, hindering your child. Shut up, sit down, listen to the teacher. You better not be in school telling that teacher what she should do. You better not be in school. Now, I'm not saying I'm for homeschooling, you know. I'm for homeschooling. I promote homeschooling. You know, my children, they go to public school. I'm going to admit that. But I'm going to admit by my own omission that it is not my will that they be in there, but their mom's will. It's not because I will them to be in school. It's because it's better to, what did they say? It's better to get along than to be alone, something like that. What that saying goes. So it's like, all right, whatever, right? Because you fight and it's like an uphill battle, especially when it comes to men and their children trying to be fathers, right? So the mama like, no, what you gonna, I don't want to go to that. That's personal, but mamas are more so indoctrinated, and the mama's like, yo, no, they need an education. Is not a homeschool education not an education? Is a private school education not an education? A border school education not? I mean, what do you determine to be? What is your definition of an education? How about I can educate my child on life itself and themselves? I can educate my child on just themselves. That's enough education. You understand? That's what they need. So I was showing these mentees what it is that they needed. You understand? My mentees I was mentoring, what they needed, and what they needed was emotional support. And so I allowed them to express. And when I allowed them to express themselves, what I was able to see, what I have allowed them, what I was able to see, I allowed them to see as well. And I didn't have to tell them what was in them. What I saw in them, they were able to express it to me. They showed me and told me. And I was like, I know, because I already saw it in you. I saw that in you. So you just, what I'm saying? Like, hey, I just need you to pull it out because it's there. So they will pull out this creative skill, this creative bone that they had that they never knew they had. And all of a sudden, boom, they're like, yo, where did this come from? Where did this knowledge come from? And it's always been inside them. I allowed them to express. And so therefore, when I allowed them to express, it's the same form of writing down the vision. It's the same form of allowing them to see it so that they can understand, yo, this is who I am. And so now they can go to school. Watch this. Now they can enter into the classroom with a sense of purpose now. Y'all ain't hearing me. Y'all ain't hearing me because I'm going deep. Y'all ain't hearing me. Now they can enter into school every day with a sense of purpose. Why? Because you allow your child to express. And when they express, they get to see in front of them what it is that they are. It's like writing down your thoughts on a piece of paper. You get to see your thoughts. Well, when you allow that child to express, they get to see a form of themselves. And they're like, oh my God, that's me. That's my ability. That's my strength. That's my power. That's my purpose. And so now they go to school with a sense of urgency to get through it. They go to school with a sense of urgency to focus. They go to school with a sense of urgency to what? To get in there and get out, to create and build themselves up into who they were. So you don't have to tell a child to sit down and learn anymore. That child will go in willing to learn. Why? Because that child wants to get all the skills necessary to come out of that school to manifest their true purpose. Y'all ain't even hearing me tonight. Ooh, I just said something. Mm, 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 mm. That was deep. That was deep. I gotta sip my coconut on. I'm in love with the cocoa. I gotta sip the cocoa on y'all on that one. Mm. Remember in that movie Ace Ventura? He said, we have exorcised the demons, right? We've exorcised the demons in this thing right now tonight, y'all. What are you talking about? Man, I gotta go back into that one. Hold on. Don't go nowhere. Mm-hmm. Mm. We've exorcised some demons, y'all. Huh? We exorcised some demons. Okay? Now, let me go back and kind of reiterate on that a little bit more. Or let me build on top of that a little bit more. Or let me build on the essence of that. Now, when I say, when you allow that child to express themselves, whether it be at home, okay, you ask your child, what did you learn today in school? This is what you do. What did you learn today in school? And the child can't tell you a goddamn thing what they learned, right? Huh? Learn how to spell. What did you learn how to spell? I forgot. You understand? Like what do you know how a child retains information? You know how a child is going to retain information? By allowing that child not to be, watch this, not to allow that child to be free, not to be boxed and hindered, not to be boxed in the cage, not the school system itself, because that's a box, okay? You understand? But boxed into this mind, this thinking. What did you learn? Huh? Every day you need to come home and tell me something you learned. I need to know what you learned today in school. But hold on. Wait a minute. Huh? Ask that kid something. Ask that kid this. Won't you ask that child other questions besides what you learned? Because they ain't gonna be able to tell you. But when you allow that child to be expressive in their true nature, guess what? What the Bible? I'm not a preacher here, okay? I'm not a pastor, but I do know the Bible, and I use the Bible as a reference because it has a lot of references in it that I like to go to. But the Bible says, it says what? It is better for you to hang a milestone around your neck and throw yourself in the sea than to lead one of my children astray. Now, what does that even mean? Or let's use the other scripture. It says that unless you come to me like a child, you will not see the kingdom of heaven. Now, how do you hinder a child from being a child? How do you debilitate a child from being a child? When you stop that child from being its natural self. And what is its natural self? Allowing that child to be freely expressive in who they are naturally. Boy, I got to use an example, and I'm not saying this for anybody or anybody I know. I'm just going to say this, be like, boy, stop acting like a girl. You ain't a girl. Wait a minute, hold up. That child expressing its true nature. That child's expressing its true nature, what's inside. So when you allow that, when you stop that child and you hinder that child, then you cage and you box that child and from being expressive and being free. So scriptures that says, unless you come to me like a child, you will not see the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is this place that is called paradise or peace or happiness or freedom, right? This is the equivalent of heaven, where everything is free. There's peace, there's happiness, there's joy, right? There's love. So when you think about a child, unless you come to me like a child, you will not see the kingdom of heaven. And what does that mean when you come to me like a child? It means the pure essence and innocence of a child. When you rob a child of their innocence, and how do you rob a child of their innocence? When you rob them of their free, natural mind. When you rob them of their nature, you are robbing God. When you rob a child of his nature, when you rob that child of his nature, what is a child's nature? To be freely expressive, to be freely expressive. I learned this being a mentor, and I saw this mentoring many students for 5 years. I must have mentored over 100 students, 100% success rate. Every one of my students went on, every one of my mentees went on to graduate, went on to go on to the next level or the next grade. They all passed. I never had a student that failed a grade when I became their mentor. Never, not one. Not a single one. You understand why? Because I didn't come to the child with notepads and stuff like, okay, let's. I wasn't a tutor. I wasn't a tutor. That's what a tutor is for. I came to be that child's friend, his mentor, and I came, but I allowed that child to do something that these teachers were stopping. And in the educational system, this is where you subject your child to a false reality, because the school system is the false reality. That's facts, man. That's facts. The school system is the false reality, but because we may feel there is no other way, some of us, when there is, but I'm not speaking as if there ain't. I'm speaking for those who truly don't want to try another way of educating their children, and you say, well, my child is going to go to a school. Okay, well, then for you who want to let your child go to school, no harm, no foul. Okay, I'm not here to beat you down, but what I'm saying is this: even while your child goes to that public school, you cannot be like, oh, what did you learn today in school? Expecting that child, asking from that child to share with you knowledge of education in the educational form of, like, tell me, what did you learn? What the teacher taught you? A, B, C, E, F, G. You know what I'm saying? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Tell me what you learned. Tell me, like, the math things that you learned. Tell me what you learned in science or something like that. And then that child don't remember nothing, right? Why? Because you are attacking the child's innocence. Unless, what does it say? Unless you come to me like a child, you will not see the kingdom of heaven. And what does that mean again? It means unless you come to me with a free mind, undebilitated, unhindered, free in your natural state. This is why even in the Bible, God calls you his child. Do you look at it? Does a father not give good gifts to his child? How much more do I have to give to you who are my child? Even though the child is being bad, but the father still gives good gifts to his child. You understand? Why? Because even in the mind of a child, we understand that they know what they do, that children are innocent, and we are to not hold things against them. See, when you, for Christmas, you will not say, no, remember what you did last year? Remember you was bad last year? Nah, I'm not going to get you nothing for Christmas this year. You don't hold that against your child. You know why? Because you know that your child is a child. You know that that's the innocence of a child. A child is going to do child things. But when it comes to education, you don't allow that space. You don't allow that freedom. So when it comes to giving good gifts to your child, you allow that. A child to be a child. You allow that for a child to be its natural self in its natural state of mind. You allow that child to be free. So you don't say, oh no, you was bad last year you was bad last year. Remember that? And I told you wouldn't get nothing for Christmas, and you don't give, and Christmas come around and you give nothing to your child for Christmas. To me personally, I don't even get in. Let me not again get into that. Let's just stick to the subject matter. Okay. So you subject your child to a false reality, right? So you tell your child, oh, you did this last year, so you're not getting nothing this year, right? No, you don't hold that against your child, because you allow the space, more so the freedom, for your child to be a child. And this is how you do not hinder the child. This is what it means for the child to, unless one of you come to me like a child, you will not see the kingdom of heaven. This is what it means to be innocence. You allow that child to keep its innocence when you don't hold nothing against that child from last year. So you don't give nothing to a child this year for Christmas. Why? Because you allow that child to hold on. You allow that innocence. You allow the freedom of that child's innocence to display itself and be out front and say, you know what? You're a child. I understand. You don't know. You're a child. You're just being a child. But when it comes to school, Your child can no longer be a child. It must be a learning adult in such a way to where you're badgering your child. What did you learn today in school? You better sit your butt down and listen to that teacher when that teacher talking to you. This is indoctrination of your mind. You understand? You see, this is an indoctrination of your mind. My children, listen, I'm gonna be straight up. I'm gonna be straight up. When I pick my children up from school, facts, okay? I don't ask them nothing about, do y'all got homework? I don't do that. Y'all got homework? I don't do that. All right? I don't be like, what y'all learn in school? You understand what I'm saying? I be like, hey, what did you get? The little report. Like, what did you get on your report? Like an E, a S, for all this. Like, what's your report? Daddy, I got an E. Okay, good. I got a V. Good. Okay, good. Tell me why you got a V. I need to hear why you got a V. Like, tell me why. Like, I need to express that to me. Right? So now I allow the child to do what? Use their mind to go back to that, to think and go back to the reasons for why they got those E's or those V's. I need them to go back. So I allow the child to express, and thus I allow the child to remember it's what? It's behavior. This is psychology 101. So I allow the child to remember not the education. I allow the child to remember its behavior, right? So this is where, a child is going to remember the things that they do, not the things that they learn. Y'all ain't even hearing me right now, man. I'm speaking tonight. I'm speaking. Let me sip my cocoa on y'all again. A child is going to remember the things that they do, not what they learn. Because a child is not supposed to sit still and be quiet and listen to that teacher. And you need to, when you come home, you need to be able to tell me everything that teacher told you and taught you. You are robbing that child. You are robbing that child of pure innocence. I don't even ask my children what they learn. Screw all that. Fuck all that. I don't want to know what you learned. I don't want to know. Tell me what you did. Like, tell me what you did. And tell me, they tell me about their friends and stuff. And you know what? Somehow, some way, my children still come home with good reports, right? I want to ask them about their what they learned from the teacher. But yet my children still bring me these good reports. Dad, da 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 da. And they tell me the story behind that. And now I allow this child's mind to be free. And I allow this child's mind to go back and wonder. And I allow this child's mind to go back and remember the things that they did, right? To be this expressive being so that they can be an expressive being. And then I allow my child to be a free-minded. See, I don't rob my children of their innocence, their natural their innocence, which is their natural mind. I allow my child to go back and remember the things that they did. So it's like a child. When you take a child to the park and you say, hey, what did y'all do at the playground today? A child will tell you every single thing. Because you allowed that child to be a child when they're at the playground. A child can tell you everything they did at the playground. I promise you they can't. You take your child to the playground and come and tell them, now tell me, what did you do at the playground today? And they will tell you every intricate detail of what they did at the playground. Why? Because you allowed the child to do and you allowed the child to be. And so when you allow this space, then you allow your child to go into school with a free mind. And that child will go into school with his natural free mind, and it will be willing to learn. Why? It would be willing to sit down and learn from that teacher. It would be willing. This child would be willing. This is how, and I was only meant to, I can prove this to you. When I was mentoring, I only visit my mentees once a week, some of them once a week, and some of them twice a month. I was visiting my mentees once a week and sometimes twice a month, but mainly it was always more so once a week. I was always, because I had so many, I couldn't, I was doing too much. So I was visiting my mentees once a week, right? Now, these young men who were troubled men to young men to to the teachers or the psychologists, these were troubled students, right? In their eyes, really, they wasn't troubled. They were just quickly trying to put the kid off on somebody else, so the teacher didn't have to deal with them. And I was like, okay, I see what y'all doing, but whatever. And so I could prove this to you. Whenever I would visit with my mentees, and I would never, and these are fifth graders, you know what I'm saying? I would never be like, yo, I need a report, da 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 da, tell me what you learned, all this. I would never, make these children do anything like that, right? But when I allowed these children, these young Africans when I allowed these young Africans to express themselves fully, whatever we did, it was always expression. I don't care if we played Uno, checkers, Connect Four, whatever it was, Hangman, whatever we was doing. I was allowing this child to be expressive. You understand? And you want to know something? Watch this. Do you want to know something? Every week, 5 days would go by before I would see them again. And I would come back and I would always go, the psychologist or the liaison, the community liaison would always approach me. What did you do with Isaac the other day? He just, he's such a, he's like really like, he's the best, literally like the best student in the class now. What did you do with Isaac? Like, what did you do? My children are good students in school. Because I allow this space. I allow this space for this child to be expressively free in their mind. I allow them to be natural. You understand? And so how do you rob God? Well, when you rob God, when you rob a man of his mind, his natural mind, and it's better for you to hang a milestone around your neck and drown yourself in the ocean than to lead one of these children astray. Why? Because how do you lead a child astray? Through the mind. You lead a child astray through the mind. And this is why this is a false reality we are subjecting our children to. And this false reality is leading our children astray. And so what we need to do is get back into the minds of our children and allow our children to be able to be expressive. And so when I was coming back after 5 days, I would only see him once a week. So, a whole week would go by. I come back and see them again. And yet they're still practicing what we were expressing. They're still practicing this good behavior. I use air quotes, good behavior, because that's what the teachers would call it, good behavior. But I don't call it that. I just call it, a free mind. These children would be practicing having a free mind. And when I allowed them to have a free mind to be expressive, wouldn't you know, they would go back for 5 days because I gave them so much of themselves. I allowed them to be themselves, and they was able to see themselves fully 100%. They was able to see who they were, that they had got inspired and motivated to become more of that. And so guess what? They go back into the classroom because they can't wait to see me, or they can't wait to be able to express again more of who they naturally are. And they go back into the classroom willing to sit down and listen to the teacher. And it's not by default. They go in there like, yo, you better teach me, because I'm trying to get this information. It's all about information now. Why? So that child can use for their betterment, for their good, for the betterment of their good. So now that child is like, yo, teach, you better teach me. Going with this kind of attitude, like, you better teach me, because I ain't coming here to play a game with you right now. I'm not here to play with you no more. Like, I need you to teach me. I send them back into the classroom with that kind of attitude. My kids become inspired, like, fuck, goddamn, like, yo, teach, shut your ass up and teach me some shit, man, because I know who I am now. I know who I am, man. My kids, my mentees would come. They couldn't wait to see me. They would get to me and they would get full of power. And they'd be like, yo, like, I need my mentor because he keeps me motivated. And they go back in and they like, yo, I seen who I am. My mentor was able to show me who I was. So teacher, you better not fuck around with me in this classroom no more. You feel me? I need to get my shit done. Like, you need to give me mine, because I'm here to learn, not just to learn because you want to give it to me, but because I need to use it to express myself more. I need the information so it can get into my DNA. I can be fully expressive of who I am. So I need you not to be playing around no more now. Because I'm not here to play a game anymore, teach. And my students will go back in with that kind of attitude. And because they found out who they were. Because this is how you allow a child to be stay innocent, stay free-minded, stay natural. You rob a child of their innocence when you lead them astray. Huh? You rob a child of their innocence when you lead that child astray. You understand? This is how you rob them of their innocence. This child is looking to be inspired by being expressive. This child wants to be inspired by being expressive. What did you learn in school today? What did the teacher tell you? You need to come on. And some of you whoop your child. Y'all whoop y'all children because they can't even tell you what they learned. You whoop your children because they can't tell you what the teacher taught them. Some of you will whoop your children. Shame on you. Yes, I'm talking to you. Shame on you. For real. Like, look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, why do I do that? For real, like, look yourself in the mirror and say, why the hell do I whoop my child? Because my child is not learning from these teachers who want to keep my child literally docile. But if you just get your child somebody like me in life, I guarantee you, your child will go back in there with a sense of urgency like, yo, teach, don't be in here playing games with me no more. Like, I want to, like, you going to make me, like, get up, all up in your books. Like, you gonna make me get all up in your test scores and your answers and look for these answers because I'm trying to get through this. But my mentees, they will go back in school with a sense of urgency because I've allowed them to fully express themselves, but I've allowed them to be able to see. When you allow them to express, you allow them to see themselves in front of themselves. You allow them to project themselves in front of themselves so they can see who they are. And they're like, yo, this is my potential. Yo, this is who I am. Yo, I'm really good. Like, oh shit. So let me stop really. So I was really bullshitting the whole time then. Like, what was I doing? Like, I was really playing games, but I'm not playing games no more now. I can't play games because I know who I am now, and I got all this in me, and I need to be creative in that. And the way to do that is not through, oh, let me sit down, be docile, and get the education. No, it's more so let me get the information. This is a difference. The child is now like acting with a sense of urgency, not to get the education, but to get the information. It's not education that the child is after. It's more so now information, because the child is going to take out of the education only that which they can use and they need. I wasn't good. You understand? I wasn't good at school. I was like, yo, school just ain't for me. You feel me? School was not my thing. Feel me? So I can't, but I got the information that I needed to be where I am. You understand? And let me tell you, my favorite class, my favorite grade when I was going in elementary, my favorite grade was 4th grade. And I'm going to tell you why my favorite grade was 4th grade. I remember my teacher, his name was Mr. Rojek. My 4th grade teacher was named Mr. Rojek. And I'm going to tell you why this was my favorite grade of all of my, all my years. Because this teacher always took us outside. This is how we learn. And we came back, and let me tell you something. My grades in the 4th grade were the best grades I've ever had in any school year I've ever been. Any year of school I've been in, my grades was the best grades in 4th grade. Not because of the education, but because of the information. My teacher took us outside all the time. All the time. Like, he was trying to get us outdoors damn near every day. You understand what I'm saying? The information is in nature. The information is in letting us be in our natural mind. Y'all don't get me. Y'all gonna have to share this one tonight, man. Y'all gonna have to share this one. I mean that. Like, y'all gonna have to share this one. Because the information is in being in a natural state. And when my fourth grade teacher took us outside all the time, like literally the whole year, we was always outdoors. I don't remember a lesson from fourth grade. Now I don't remember not one lesson. The only lessons I remember was us being outside. We got the lesson through the information. The information came from us being in our natural state, which he took us. I would say he took us out into nature, and we were our natural selves. As children, we became expressive. And so when it was time for him to teach and give us the lesson, the information was so easily retained. It was so easily retained. I could remember the information like it was nothing. I'm like, yo, this is deep. And I passed.